All right, let's get started. We're joined by Orlando City interim head coach Bobby Murphy. Bobby, can you get us started with your thoughts on tonight's match, please?
Yeah, I want to apologize to the fans who came out tonight. I mean, the team selection, falls on me, and I chose a group that went out there, and we weren't good enough tonight. So that's my responsibility. I think the first half we had next to no energy, and that might have been me thinking people could get through what they went through on Wednesday night, thinking we'd get a lift for some people we brought in. And none of it seemed to work, and, that's on me. So there you go.
Thank you. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start with Michael Citro.
Bobby, it seemed like after the own goal in the 13th minute, Montreal was just content to stay compact, stay back, and wait for Orlando to make mistakes, make life difficult. Is that kind of how you saw it, and how do you think the team could have maybe found some offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think one, they did that, and fair play to them, because it's, we were in Montreal last week and it was 60 degrees, so they come down here and conserve energy after they get the goal and force us to break them down. I think with the change in shape, part of it lends itself to some natural width, but if the width isn't provided in the right way, it actually makes you narrower, if that makes any sense at all. So, there were times where Donnie would get so high that he's almost standing next to the defender, and so you don't have any width because he's marked himself out of the game. And he's not. And I'm not picking on Donnie. I mean, it's something we discussed. So, and then I think when you have the moments, when they want to sit in, we have to play faster, right? And there's a natural tendency to think because I have time and space on the ball that I can now take my time. But really what you're doing is using up the next guy's time that you can get it to move things quickly, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so I think it's all those little things that we have to do. And I think the hardest thing, it's so much easier in this world to destroy things than it is to build things, right? I mean, and so to have as many new guys as we have, and I'm not making excuses for anybody, but to get the chemistry and attack, it takes time, right? It's harder to score goals, and and we've got to just be better at it, and that's and that's my job for right now. So,
next question from Jordan.
It seemed like the team started to play with a little bit more urgency once Chris Mueller came on, once some substitutes started to come in. Just can you go a little bit more into the team selection, the people that you started off with, and why you thought that they were still fresh after playing 120 minutes against DC United?
It's not an exact science that and the team selection. So much of what I went on was people's word. I mean, there's the empirical data of how much ground they covered and this, that, and the other. The other is requiring their honesty and saying, yes, I can do this, right? And if someone said that, and we had discussions as late as 11 o'clock this morning on those things, nothing was set in stone, trying to give people as much time as possible, and so that went into the selection. We left Yuri and Dom behind thinking they would give us a bit of a lift. You bring Donnie in, who's a good athlete and can get up and down the left-hand side and hopefully get in behind people and, get you some crosses in. Those types of things. We're trying to get Scott some game minutes, which is hard to do because we don't have a second team to get him game minutes. And, we wanted to get him minutes on Wednesday, but, the game didn't lend itself to that. So now you put Scott in, do you start him and only play him 45 minutes to protect him to make sure he's okay? Then you got to burn a sub. You just can't, there's just too many things. There's so many things to manage that put the rest of the group in jeopardy. So, part of it was going with experience. Part of it was going on discussions I'd had with the players and trying to blend in some fresh legs. And Chris ran his legs off for 120 minutes the other night, and and I asked him, he said, I can probably give you 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, that's what we can give you. You talk to other ones, they said, yeah, I can go, I'm good. Okay. And you have to, on some level, you have to trust players, and in tonight, I don't look so good for maybe having done that. So there you go.
Next question from Mike Ramajo.
Bobby, obviously it's now a 7-game losing streak, a coaching change last week. I mean, what's the team morale like, especially just a few moments after you guys lose 2-0 against Montreal today?
I mean, they're down for sure. They're disappointed. You know, the challenge, I just told them the challenge is, you know, all the feel-good stuff that we talked about for the last 3 days, having come off the victory and stuff. Now you can't abandon that stuff, you know what I mean? And now my having to hold them accountable is even more important. You know, there's nowhere to hide in this. You know, it's not good right now. But it doesn't have to stay that way, you know, that's a choice. So we just gotta keep going and you know, and I'll go back to work, and, you know, for as long as they'll employ me, I will keep pushing them and holding them accountable and trying to get the best out of them. So.
Next question from Mackenzie.
Throughout this 7-game losing skid, you guys have won twice, and that's in U.S. Open Cup play. Why do you feel that maybe that's not translating over to league play, considering the fact that you played a league team just a few days ago?
I don't think there's an easy answer to it. You know, I think the cup games provide a different bit of energy, but it doesn't matter. You know, things like Wednesday night to tonight, you look at the energy in the first half of Wednesday night versus the first half of tonight. Running around's a choice. I mean, that's as simple as that. Like either you choose to run or you choose not to run. Sasha Kleshtin, 32 years old, ran 17K on Wednesday night and probably ran another 10K tonight. It's a choice. And if you choose not to run, okay. Because I think there is no difference in the game, right? You're still playing to win. All those things are still really, really important. And, you know, you got to be willing to do it. And so I don't think there's no difference between the games. I just think, you know, you can't discount that I put, and I will say this again, I did it. I put some tired legs out there thinking they would be okay and get us through. And that was not the case. So that's on me.
We'll take one more question from Jordan.
So, Coach, it sounds like more than just tired legs. It sounds like the effort wasn't there. It sounds like that's what you're saying. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it just sounds like you are looking at this team and it didn't give the effort tonight.
I mean, I think it was obvious to everyone, including them, and the discussion we had at halftime. The energy was not there first half. For the first 45 minutes, the energy wasn't there, and you can't. And it was the same group of players that came out to start the second half, who were much livelier, right? So you can call it whatever you want to, energy, effort, you know. Bottom line, it wasn't good enough, and that's just the reality. And I think to dress it up and call it anything else does nobody any justice because it's obvious to me. So.
Thank you, Bobby.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.